How can two people write one book? Well,
one of us has to have the patience of Job.
Yes. Guess who that was? Sir, we don't sit down and write together. We meet several times a week. We talk about the various chapters we're going to do. We write separate characters also from a third person point of view, and then we got together, as I said, once or twice a week and compared notes, gave each other critiques, and proceeded from there.
You know, the interesting part of that process, I think, is that when you're doing that through the eyes of one character, eventually that person is going to be speaking with the protagonist handled by the other person, and and you have to put words I have to put words in the mouth of Marcel Lafarge, Gene's character, and that's where we would have sometimes longer lunch or drinking sessions, and others is, you know, although that's not the way he would have said it, and it's a give and take.
Yeah, my guy would never say that particular thing in that way, and then we have a discussion about that.
How this person, this protagonist, Nathan Parker, deals with it by saying he's at least going to get his men out of this through the war, as many of them alive as possible. And when he's imprisoned, finds out that prison is worse than the war, and the rest of the book is his breaking out and all the attempts to get back to it and save those men.
Well, that really does sound interesting.
Yeah,
I'm going to get that. There's another character in the book, Marcel Lafarge, who was an ex-Confederate officer, and he's kind of a ne'er-do-well scoundrel, and he eventually helps Captain Parker put together a group of mercenaries to go back to the prison. We won't tell you any more about it, but you have to buy the book.
Or 3 or
4. I don't know how we proceed. You want to take questions?
Sure. What's on your minds?
The gentleman asked what kind of preparation we did in terms of this book and Hoosiers.
Among other
Hoosiers being a movie. I didn't have to do any research for Hoosiers because I was of an age that I could live that. It was a long time ago. We did a lot of research for the book, and of course Andersonville.
And not as part of this, I think we've both been to a number of the other sites.
Yeah, I've been to Gettysburg.
We weren't. Yeah, I've been at Antietam and Gettysburg and those places. But as part of this, we were really concentrating on just a couple of sites. Where most sites that the only sites that were really involved here were Vicksburg and Andersonville in the writing. So that's where we put the time, along with Memphis and a couple of Tuscaloosa, some places that showed up in the course of the novel.
We had written actually a great deal of the book and a lot about the prison camp and the conditions there. And in Vicksburg, there's a wonderful Civil War library which we had access to. We read a lot of papers and not so much about Andersonville, but more about Cahaba, which was closer by. But the research on the book was very extensive and informative. Yeah, I don't go quite back to the Civil War, but I was in the Marine Corps in 1947. Yeah, I think my experiences in the Marines probably helped me in writing some of these characters, the whole military attitude, the discipline, and that kind of thing. Yes, sir. I have to read it?
Yes.
I don't know that I've read this.
I have a superior voice and stature.
To the roughly 600,000 young Americans, North and South, who left their lives along with their blood on the battlefields of our Civil War, and to the hope that our nation can solve future internal disputes with a bit less passion and a mite more patience. it's a race to see if I can become a fine writer before the end of my days, but I'm having fun doing it. Thank you for the question.
Mary, can you take my picture? Mr. Hackman, please. I'm going to take a picture. Sorry.